Sorry boss, I can't come back in, I've been drinking. A few years ago my wife was working as an EMS worker in our local township. She got home from work one night after a long day and posted a picture of herself holding an unopened beer and saying, "I needed this." In the picture you could tell the beer was still closed. A few minutes after she posted her picture, a major storm decided to suddenly roll through. My wife, being the good employee she was, called her supervisor and asked if he needed any help. He said, "No. You can't come in, you posted a picture of yourself drinking alcohol." She objected that the can wasn't opened and every idiot could see that, but he wouldn't relent. But he said something about how it could be construed wrong. Fast forward a couple of weeks. It had been a stupidly busy day for her, and when she finally got home, she ran over to the shelf that we had a bottle of whiskey on, literally tossed me her phone and said, "Quick, take a picture of me drinking this." The cap was obviously still on the bottle, but she tipped it up like she was drinking it, and she posted it online as soon as I gave the phone back. Her boss called her 10 minutes later and said, "We need you to come back in. We are short-staffed tonight." She said, "Sorry boss. I can't. I've been drinking." Check online. He tried to object that the cap was on, and she said, "Last time I posted a picture like this, you wouldn't let me come in because it would set the wrong precedent. I wouldn't want to do that to you this time." I learned this in the U.S. Army working in the medical field. We didn't have social media back then. But if my boss called to ask me to work, I'd tell him I'd had a few beers already. I'm sure he began to think I was a lush cause he called every few weeks. In kitchens, if you have sickness or diarrhea, you need to take 3 days off to make sure it's out your system and you won't make anyone sick. I was young, at a new job. My line manager at the time didn't like me, and I was joking with the pot washer that I'd drank so much coffee that I had the runs. Line manager overheard and basically told me I legally couldn't come back for 3 days, and as I was leaving, joked about how I should look forward to my pay packet, since it was basically zero that week. Fast forward a few months. Line manager appreciates me now. We're short-staffed, but I'm not feeling so fresh. He asks why I keep going to the bathroom, and I say, "I got the runs. Something's not sitting right," and he tells me to go drink some tea and take 5 and come back. So I said, "No. I gotta go home. 3 days off. You said it's the law." Every other chef in the kitchen is silently just staring at him. And he just grumbles and said, "Call me tomorrow and let me know if you're better." I say, 3 days boss, and he shouts, "If I spot you out partying or at the pub, you're fired. Go home." Quote. I make a hard, no coworkers on social media policy because, well, fuck all that. I also work EMS and love that your wife was able to get away with this lol. When I was in the military, we had something called recalls. The running joke was that as soon as you knew a recall was about to happen, you'd say, "Quick, get the beers." Quote. During a recall, you would have to be showered, shaved, in uniform, and at work within 30 minutes. However, if you've been drinking, you weren't due in for 8 hours. I love the MC, but the thing that gets me about this is that she has her boss as a friend on social media. I keep the two WAAAAY separate, but I don't know if that's just me being the weird one. Obviously, they should have been consistent in how they apply the policy. But it isn't crazy to have a rule like this. If something had gone wrong during her shift, that picture would have been exhibit A in a lawsuit and could have made the evening news. Every time my old boss called me on my days off at my old job, I'd tell him that I had been drinking. and was too drunk to come in. My favorite exchange in that regard was as follows. "Hey, I need you to come in and open the store. X called out today and we've got no one else." "Sorry boss, I've been drinking. I can't come in. It's 4 a.m. "You're drinking already?" Quote, "No. I just haven't stopped since I punched out 6 hours ago." "Yeah, I start drinking as soon as I get home for the same reason." "Yup, the exact same reason." I have an opposite story. I had a big party at my house. I was friendly with my boss at the time and he was at the party. My boss gets a call that there is a big outage at one of our big national customers. The guy who is on call is struggling with restoring everything. Customer irate, escalation, etc. Boss comes up to me and tells me he needs me on the call. I laugh out loud at him. "You have been with me all day. I have been drinking all day. I have a house full of like 50 plus people." He is like, "I am not kidding. Come on, I need you." He is serious? Well, I jump on a call with him, connect to the system remotely, and solve the issue in 30 minutes or so while trying not to say much as I really am piss drunk. I guess all is well that ends well, but that motherfucker was never invited to a party at my house again. I work in EMS. This happened to a buddy of mine. Super short-staffed and they used the mandatory clause of our collective agreement. He tried to object but they said too bad, they expect him to show up. He drove to work and picked up the direct phone line and asked them where they would like him to put the infant car seat in the ambulance. They were like, "What?" He said, "I tried to tell you I get my kid one weekend a month and you wouldn't listen." He put in for the minimal 4 hours pay and they had to pay him. I always thought it was a little too risky to have coworkers and bosses on my social media. I live the Bible Belt and some of my extracurricular activities are hardly what the local Baptists deem appropriate. I don't want them praying for me or firing me because I'm not professional in my free time. Had a boss a few jobs ago that'd tell this story. He used to live less than 5 minutes away from his work and his manager had a habit of coming over to ask him to fill in when they were short-staffed. Boss started keeping a shot glass by the door after coming home so he could take a shot if the boss starts knocking. "Can't come in. Been drinking." I learned social media is basically Satan on the flesh. That is why there is zero social media with my legal name online. Everything I post is anonymous. My employer can and will dig. So yeah, nope. Sounds like the military. It's not against the rules, it just doesn't look right. I used to live 6 doors away from where I worked as a bartender. My boss would go out front and look up the street to see if my lights were on and then call me in if I was needed. I tried the "I'm drinking beer" line and it didn't seem to bother him. He would say, "It's okay. Just come in." Next time he called I said, "I just did a bong load but I can come in." "No problem boss." He said no. So that was my go-to from then on. I work at a job where I usually get at least a text asking me to come off on my precious day off. I'm not above getting legit day drunk to have an excuse I don't have to lie about. Back in working days, a group of us would go to a bar near the plant after work on Friday for attitude adjustment. One time, the second shift called the bar asking for my buddy, the head electrician, to ask him to come in to fix a problem on a big plating line. He finished his beer and went to help. The super wanted to perform a sobriety test on him when he arrived. Buddy asked him where he called to find him. "Oh," the super says. Buddy asked him what he thought he was doing there. "And do you want the FN machine fixed or what?" He fixed the machine. I used to have a drink when I got home just so I couldn't get called back in. You guys in the barracks with your door drinks are lame. I never had a door drink to avoid getting voluntold to do some shitty detail. I committed and just started drinking. No need to, just in case. I gave it 100%. Apparently it's a well-known way to defend your time off. If you have drunk any alcohol at all, they don't want you on shift at the hospital, EMT, police. And they'll stop trying to guilt trip, bribe you into coming in and picking up another shift if you can say, "Sorry, I had a couple beers already. I can't drive."
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.